Some mornings I step outside, breathe in the stillness, and realize this is it. No noise, no rush, just peace. In the quiet of this land, I found exactly where I'm meant to be. What you got there? You got your toy? Is that your toy? What you got? Is that a toy? Can Mama see that? Can Mama see your toy? She's like, nope. That is my toy, Mommy. Even though you bought it, it's mine. Oh, cute little babies. Look at her. Look at that evil little look she's giving me. Like, you better not touch my toy. There's something about mornings out here. They come early, whether you're ready or not. Living off the grid on raw land, your day kind of has to start with the sun, especially this time of year. Spring out here in the high desert, it brings the wind, and I mean every single day. I've been here about a month now, and I don't think there's been one day without those high winds rolling through. But it's just part of Arizona, especially out here where everything's wide open. Nothing to block it. Nowhere for it to slow down. So I've had to learn pretty quickly, if I want to get anything done, mornings are my window. It's usually the calm before everything picks up. The only part of the day where it feels a little more manageable. So I try to use that time wisely. Start with the basics. Get my chores done first. One thing I've made part of my everyday routine is making sure my solar is set up and charging. Because, well, out here, you really can't trust the weather. One day it might say sunshine, and then out of nowhere, clouds roll in or the wind picks up so much you're out here chasing your panels around. So I've learned, take advantage of the good moments when they come. Keep everything charged. Stay prepared. Because living like this, you don't really get the luxury of waiting until later. And in this first month of being here, I've still been living in my bus, which honestly has given me a lot of time to think about how this year is going to look for me. When I first got this land, I'll be honest, I was nervous. Because I don't have a ton of money sitting in the bank to just come out here and build everything all at once. And well, when you're standing out here looking at the raw land, it can feel a little overwhelming. Like, where do you even start? But then I remind myself, I've already been doing this. I've been living in my vehicles for the past 4 years. And I've learned how to make do with things. How to live simply. How to be okay with less. So really, there's no reason I can't continue living that way this year. Just here, on my own land. And, well, that's kind of where my mindset has shifted. There's really no rush. I don't have to have everything figured out right now. I don't have to build it all overnight. If anything, taking my time might actually be the smarter way to do this. Giving myself the rest of this year right here to really learn the land, figure out what works and what doesn't, and slowly make it livable in a way that actually makes sense for me. On a budget, but still comfortable, still peaceful, still home. And that's what this next chapter is really about. So in this video, I'm going to share more about how I plan to make this work. Living off the grid out here on a budget while still creating a space that feels good to come back to every day. Because one thing I'm definitely learning out here, there's always something to do. And somehow, well, I've managed to stay pretty busy already. So considering that we are off-grid and we're pretty far out from any town or city, trash was one thing we had to figure out. And while I think we possibly could get a dumpster set up at our property for like the garbage people to come and pick up our trash, that would be a lot of money to do. I mean, probably not like a whole lot of money, but for us to save our money, right now we are taking our trash to the landfill that is out here. And it's actually a pretty good deal. So me and my two friends at the property, we take turns going to the landfill and taking our trash. So whenever one of us goes, we take all of our trash. And it's actually a pretty good price. So when you go to the landfill, they weigh your vehicle. And any trash that's under 240 pounds, it's only $5 to take your trash there. So it's a pretty good deal. So we're doing that for right now, and that's literally like maybe, I think $5 a week is what we're doing. And like I said, we're taking turns doing it. And that's just what we're doing for right now. But eventually, we will be burning some of our trash. We did just purchase a burn barrel. But we have to put holes in the bottom of the barrel and everything. So we will be burning half of our trash. And then the rest of it we will be taking to the landfill. So meaning, since we're going to be burning some of our trash, we're not going to have to go to the landfill as often. So that's pretty cool. So anyways, that's where I'm heading now, is to take our trash to the landfill. And I have to say, because I've been to a couple of landfills since I was on the road traveling, taking my trash there and stuff. The drive into the landfill, I know it sounds kind of weird, but it's actually kind of pretty. So that's where I'm going now. Take the trash. It's only going to be $5 to take all 3 of our trash. And save some money right there. Well, once again, another windy day, but I got my microphone on this time, so hopefully this is going to help a little bit. So, went to the landfill to take my trash, and I guess they were closed today. It is a weekend, so, you know, living off the grid and not having like a certain kind of schedule and everything, you kind of forget what day it is, and I kind of forgot that it was the weekend, but oh well, I found somewhere else to take the trash, so that's taken care of. But that's a pretty good deal with the trash. I mean, it's pretty cheap. It's better than paying for a dumpster to come out and then paying a monthly fee for them to come and pick up our trash. So, great way to save money on your trash situation. So, this video, I really wanted to talk about how I'm trying to do all this, build on this raw piece of land and make it livable for me on a budget right now. Because let's face it, after purchasing the land with my 2 friends, I didn't really come here with a whole lot of money in the bank account. I mean, I have a little bit of savings, but not like a whole lot to just start going crazy with right here. So this could possibly help some of you guys if y'all are interested in maybe buying land, starting a homestead, or, you know, doing the off-grid living lifestyle also. Now, I did get this 40 acres with 2 other people, with 2 really dear and great friends of mine. So that saved me some money right there, because we got the land and split it 3 ways. Savings right there. And while it is 40 acres, meaning it's huge, we have picked out our own little sections on the property of which little sections will be each of our areas. So each of our areas is going to be up to us on what we want to do with our areas. So meaning my area is going to be all the money that I spend on it. I'm not going to ask my friends to help me buy things for my area. So now that we're here, got the land, This is going to be my responsibility. So this will be how I'm doing things on a budget. So that's the first thing. If you want to get like a lot of land and you're trying to do this on a budget, find some people that you can really trust, and that are great people and that you've known for a minute and everything, like I did with my two friends. Because getting land and wanting to do the homesteading and the off-grid living on land and all that, this is something that I've actually been thinking about for the last couple of years. And I've met some other people over the last couple of years that are like, oh, well, I'll go into getting land with you. But in the back of my head, I was like, are these people I'm going to trust in the long run? You know, obviously we're going to have our ups and downs. We are like now a little second family here, a little extended family. And any family, any friends, they're going to have ups and downs. But that's where communication comes in. We'll talk it out and talk it through. But I'm going to be quite honest with you. My two friends that I got this property with, we're all pretty laid back and chill. So I don't see there being too much issues between us, like butting heads about anything. But if there is, we'll just talk it out and handle it. Situate it. So there's that. Now, this is something that you guys do not know about me, because you guys are going to start seeing where I have a lot of stuff that I'm going to have here at the property. And you guys are going to wonder, well, Sarah, if you're doing this on a budget and you don't have a lot of money in the account, why are you spending so much money on these products and these things? Well, I was smart. So because this is something I've wanted to do for the past couple of years, I started buying things over the last couple of years. So whenever I would have a good paycheck with YouTube, I would go and purchase something that I knew that was going to go towards the homestead. And my friend's property that I was using as my home base for the last couple of years, that's where I would store everything, and that's where I would put everything. So I knew eventually I was going to get land. And with me getting land, I knew that eventually I was going to have some kind of home that I was going to want to live in. And well, right now, I've decided to turn this shed into a temporary tiny home for the rest of this year. And then next year is when I'm going to be concentrating on what I really want to have as my home. There's a big cattle truck going by right now. So, because I knew I was going to get land one day, and because I knew that I would be living in a structure of some sort, one of the things that I bought over the last couple of years was a kitchen counter. I also went in and bought a countertop. And let's see, there was just a few things that I actually bought over the last couple of years that I knew was going to be good for me in the future. So what I'm trying to say here is, if you have plans on wanting to get land and doing a homestead or living off the grid like I'm doing, then that is one option that you can do. Instead of when you get the land, going and buying all these things all at once, because you're going to see all the big receipts if you do that all at once. So whenever I had extra money to play around with over the last couple of years, I'd stop at a Home Depot, I'd stop at a Lowe's, and I would just purchase something that I knew that I would definitely use in the future, and then I just had it stored. So I think that was pretty smart. Yeah, it was pretty smart. So another thing to go with me going to live on a budget, because, you know, I got that shed right there. Straighten up my tripod. So I got that shed right there, and originally I was going to use it as a shed for food pantry and storage and stuff, but now I have decided to turn it into a temporary home. And I've been living in the bus right there, and I'm still living in the bus because I have to build out my shed now. It's going to be tiny because the shed is an 8x12, but it's going to be a temporary build. I'm going to put a little kitchen in there. I'm going to put a bed in there and a wood burning stove for the winter. But I think this is going to be the smart way to go, because we are going to get a bunch of snow up here during the winter time. And I honestly do not want to be living in the bus, because I don't want to put a wood burning stove in the bus. So I don't want to be living in the bus during the winter up here. So I'm going to build this shed out where it's going to be comfortable for me and my little dog. And it'll look a little nice and everything. But I'm not going to go crazy, because I know I'm eventually going to turn that back into a shed when I finally decide what I want to have as my actual home. So right now, I'm still living in the bus until I get this built out. I'm in the process of insulating it right now. So for the rest of the year, this is going to go with living on a budget, because I don't want to dig a well. Neither do my friends. We've already been told by people that getting a well dug in this area right here, because of all the caliche and stuff that's underground, which is the big rocks and everything, that they have to go pretty far down, and it's actually going to be like a $60,000 job, $50,000 or $60,000. That's definitely not in my budget right now, and I don't think it's in my friends' budgets. So we're holding off on the well. So I got a 450-gallon water tank, and that's what I'll be using for my water. I've done the math, because I've been traveling full-time for almost 5 years. I've been traveling full-time, living out of vehicles. I was living in my Jeeps at first. Then I was living in the bus and still living in the bus. So right now on the bus, I carry 26 gallons of water. Those 26 gallons of water will pretty much last me for almost a whole entire month. Now, granted, I don't take showers every single day. I have wipes where I bathe myself with the wipes. I also have the dry soap, body soap, and I can bathe myself with the dry body soap. I have face wipes. So, I mean, I'll be quite honest with you guys. I probably take an actual shower once a week. The rest of the time is just giving myself dry baths. And I'm a very clean person, by the way, guys. So, the 450-gallon water tank that I went with, I did the math because of how much water I'm able to live with on the bus for a month. And the 450-gallon water tank should last me for about 5 to 6 months, meaning that I don't have to get that water tank refilled until every 5 to 6 months. So that's pretty good. Because even though I have a bigger water tank now, and then I'm also going to still have the water jugs and containers that I use on the bus, so that's going to be about 475 gallons. I'm still going to be living very minimalist. I'm still going to be living like I'm living on the bus. So I'm going to be conserving my water like I do already. So I have a spray bottle, and I've already done a video of this. The way I wash my dishes, even though I have a full kitchen sink inside of my bus, with flowing water. I have a water tank. Well, I have water jugs underneath the sink, but I have a water pump, and I could wash my dishes underneath the faucet if I wanted to. But we all know that when that water flows out of the faucet, that's a lot of water you're wasting. So I take my spray bottle that I have, and it's a pressurized spray bottle, and I wash my dishes with the spray bottle. I brush my teeth with the spray bottle, and that conserves so much water. I will be taking that system over into the little shed also when I move into that. Now, when I finally build a home, because I'm probably going to build me a home, when I finally build me a home and I'm living in my actual home, by that time, I am going to get a bigger water tank. I may even have it installed underground. That's going to be a while from now. So we'll get to that when that time comes. But for right now, I'm doing the 450-gallon water tank. So then, let's see what else is there that I'm eventually going to build an outhouse also. So we are allowed to have outhouses out here. One of my friends is actually getting septic put in over in his area. He's going to have a septic tank put into his ground. Until I can get my outhouse built, there will be an RV adapter on his septic tank, and he is going to let me use the RV adapter to empty my toilet into the septic tank until I can get my outhouse built. So once you get the outhouse built, and that's not even going to cost a lot of money to do the outhouse, I don't have to worry about plumbing. I don't have to worry about extra water, you know, for a toilet, a flushing toilet. So the outhouse is definitely a smart idea to do. The winter time, because I know that there's going to be a lot of times I'm not going to want to have to trek through the snow and go sit in a cold toilet to use the bathroom. So I do have my composting toilet that is on the bus, and I will be transferring the composting toilet over into the shed. And then, I mean, it's very easy to pick up and move. So if I ever decide I want to go take a road trip in the bus, I just take the toilet out of the shed and put it back in the bus. So I'll be using my composting toilet during the winter time also. And that way, when it is really cold and a lot of snow, I can just use the toilet in the shed instead of having to trek through the snow to the outhouse and freeze my little tush off. So then, food. I eventually do want to get a greenhouse, and excuse me, and I do want to start growing my own vegetables and potatoes and stuff like that. And that's going to save me a lot of money. So I'll eventually do the greenhouse, but that's probably going to be a little more down the road too, the greenhouse. I'm trying to get all this done first. And, but for the time being, what I've been doing for the last month that I've been here is every time I go to the grocery store or a dollar store and I see things on sale, like canned foods and rice and beans and stuff like that, then I'll buy it, and I have a storage container that I've been saving everything in. So I plan on buying things as I see them on sale, and I am going to have a food pantry that's going to be inside of my shed. Ooh, the sun is behind the cloud. Hope you guys can still see me. And then as far as electric goes, we do not have any power on the land, and we are obviously not going to pay to have power on the land, because ideally we want to be self-sustainable here on our property. We don't want to have an electric bill, gas bill, or anything like that. So eventually I will get some solar I might get some solar panels to put outside, maybe for the shed. But for right now, what I'm going to do is I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 solar generator power stations. I have a Jackery, I have an Afery, I have a Blue Eddy, and I have an EcoFlow. The Afery that I have is a 3600 watt solar generator. My EcoFlow and my Blue Eddy are 1800 watts. And then the Jackery is only 500 watts. Let's face it, I've been living in the bus and my Jeeps for almost 5 years, pretty much off of my solar generators until I got the solar system put on the bus. I mean, I do have a whole entire solar system on the bus now. So I think for the time being, because I am trying to be budget friendly right now, I'm going to be using all 4 of my power stations that I have, my solar power stations. I found a pretty low wattage refrigerator, stand-up refrigerator that I am going to put in the shed, and it only pulls like 100 watts, this refrigerator, and that's only when the compressor is running. So the refrigerator isn't running all the time. So I think I'm going to use my 3600 watt power station that I have for the refrigerator, and then I'm not going to have that much electrical and power stuff inside of the shed, but whatever else I do happen to have in there, I think I'll be fine to just use my solar generators for the time being until I do decide to put some solar on the outside. So the solar generators saves me a lot of money because A, I already have them, but B, getting a solar system, you have to buy the solar panels, you have to buy an inverter, you have to buy a control charger, you have to buy batteries, and the batteries are really expensive. I'm sure there's other things, you know, so that's just 4 things right there. You can get good deals on the panels alone. But the batteries are very expensive. The inverter's pretty expensive. So the solar generators, the Blue Eddy, the EcoFlow, the Afery, the Jackery, they're all in one. They have the inverter already built in. It comes with a solar panel 9 times out of 10, or you have to buy the solar panel separately. So it's just a smarter way to go. So even if you don't have solar generators and you're trying to make this work on a budget, I would go that route by buying one of those before getting a whole entire solar system. So I feel like I'm forgetting. So cooking. I'm still gonna cook like I've been cooking living on the bus. I have 2 propane tanks. I have an outdoor cooking stove. I am thinking about getting one of those, it's a 2-top burner that hooks up to a propane tank. And I am thinking about putting that on my kitchen counter. So doing a 2-burner cooking stove into my kitchen counter. So during the winter time when it is cold and it's snowing outside and all that, I can cook inside the shed and not have to worry about cooking outside, because I do all my cooking outside. I don't like to cook in such a small space like my bus, because then the smell clings on to your bedspread, your curtains, your clothes, and all that stuff. So, but during the winter, I'm going to have to cook inside because we are going to get a lot of snow up here. So the 2-burner stoves, I already found them on Amazon, and they don't really cost that much. I want to say the one that I'm looking at right now is like $120. And then I already have the propane tanks, so you just hook it up to a propane tank. So I'm going to continue cooking with the propane for right now until later on, which is like next year. I might want to get some big solar system or something. Then I can get like an electric, you know, stove or something when the house is built, but later on. Right now, we're doing this all on a budget. And so I'm going to pretty much work with what I got right now. So with that being said, pretty much, even though I'm going to be moving over into the shed, and that's going to be my living quarters and going to be my temporary home and everything, I'm still going to be living like I've been living in the bus. It just makes sense. And then just continue saving more money, or when I have some extra money that I feel like I could use as play money, then I'll just go and start buying little by little and putting it aside for future things. So, yeah, a lot of people think when you buy land that we have a lot of money to put into this land, and that's not the case here. So, I even think that's not the case with my friends. I think we're all pretty much going to be doing this a little budget friendly, you know, me a little bit more. And let's face it, I've lived in Jeeps for over 3 years. Built them out. They were my home. I lived inside of my Jeeps for over 3 years. I've been living in the bus now for about 10 months. So I've been living in vehicles for about 4.5 years now. So I've already been living off the grid, and I've already been doing it minimalist and on a budget. So just because now I have the 40 acres and I will be building things slowly does not mean I have the funds to do it, and does not mean I'm gonna go broke because I want to start just buying things and doing things. And a lot of things now I'll be doing with my own hand. Like I'm insulating that shed by myself now. I'm putting the walls up in the shed, you know, on my own. I'm not paying somebody to come in and do that when I can do it myself. So that saves money too. If you can do these projects on your own, and by all means, I want to let you guys know, this is all new to me. I've never built anything. I've never really painted anything. I've never done any of this. But YouTube has so many videos for you to watch. And then my friends that are with me are pretty knowledgeable, and they know what they're doing here. So they've been helping me, and I'm willing to learn. So if you're willing to learn, take that chance and do it on your own. Don't pay for somebody to come in and insulate your building or put the walls up, because really it's not that difficult. I thought it was, but it's not. So that saves a tremendous amount of money, because paying these people to come in and do this stuff, you got to pay them an hourly wage, the labor, the parts they bring, and they probably jack up the parts a little bit, you know, so saves a lot of money. And I know I'm here, and I know I want to get this done, but there's no rush. There's no rush at all. I have all the time in the world to make this my dream home. I'm getting things done pretty quick though, in just a month I've been here. All right, so thank you guys for following me along on this new journey of living off grid on this beautiful land and making it livable in my future homestead. And I can't wait to share more videos with you guys.